Good afternoon. Good afternoon, homeschoolers. I'm so happy that we made it through the weekend. Yes, and I think the weather is starting to change, and pretty soon we will be enjoying a lot of spring. Today, I want to remind you about what we were talking about last week about squares and triangles, and I have a couple of things prepared for you today. Of course, some chocolate candies. Yes, I did try to make some chocolate candies out of squares so that it would relate to our topic today. And if this is your first time joining me, I am XOXO, the chocolate lady. Yes, and I'm always dripping with some type of thoughts. Chocolate, quilts, watercolors, having a good time, triangles, squares, yes, and of course, fabric. So, just to remind you that I am on Mondays at 1:08 in the afternoon, and I like to start at 1:08 because I am your source for 108 by 108 quilt backing, and I'm your source for 5 to 10 minute chocolate candies. Yes. And I have something very special that I'm very excited about. And that would be my Ugly Beauty chocolate fabric boxes, which I have one today for you homeschoolers. But before we start looking at all the treats, the candies, and the Ugly Beauty chocolate fabric box, I want to talk to you about a couple of shapes. And the first shape I want to talk to you about is the square, which previously we talked about the log cabin, and that how when you start a log cabin, when you start a log cabin, you always start with the square, and from that square you can make so many different shapes. And the second shape that you can make from the square, which we talked about last week, but it wasn't exactly about the flying geese. It was about the tall ship and the triangle. But today I want to talk about all the different blocks that you can make with the half square triangle, particularly with the flying geese. See here? And if you notice here, bear with me. Can you see that square right here? That square right here? Okay. So, where I'm going with this is that if you look at the quilt behind me, you can see the flying geese going across, yes, and you can see the log cabin at the top. And that's what we're going to kind of touch on a little bit today. And I'm also going to show you a short video. I am. So, with this square, which squares come big, little, medium, all sizes. But this one here in particular, look at it. That's the square. But if I laid this triangle on top, then here's a triangle, and here's a triangle. Yes, and that's what's so wonderful about the square is that it can do so much. So when you're putting together a quilt block and you're sewing and you're making a block, you have two pieces of fabric. here's a beautiful piece, and here's a beautiful piece. Okay, and so you put them together, and you get like this. And on another video, which I'm going to tell you about, you can get more details on how to make a block to make a half square triangle. But because you come to see me, XOXO, sometimes I'm a little bit messy, but I get the point across. Okay, so you have 2 pieces of fabric. Ta-da! You put them together. Okay, and then you're going to draw a line, and you're going to sew, and you're going to have 2 pieces. And then when you have your 2 pieces together, before you cut them, they will look like this. See how you have 2 different colors? Okay, but once you cut the square into 2 triangles, then you will get something like this. See? Like that. But when you put them together to make a block, then you get something like this. And if you notice, here and here, it looks like the angle, I think that's the correct word, of a bird flying. Take a look. Yes, hold tight. And if you look at my example here, look. See here? This angle, this angle, this angle. That's why this is called the flying geese. Okay? And then on the quilt behind me, all of the beak of the flying geese is going in one direction. So it all depends on how you want to make your flying geese. Okay. Now, because you come here to have a good time and to get inspiration. Oh yes, that's what you get from this channel. From XOXO, Homeschoolers, Learn How to Quilt, is inspiration. So I did something fun with chocolates. Okay, now you always have to have a precise square when you are making half square triangles, okay? But when you do them with chocolate, sometimes the squares don't come out exactly unless you have a special chocolate design mold that you use. And I just did this freehand. But look, see that? That's one square. And here's the second square. Okay, and remember I mentioned to you, hold tight, that you have 2 squares. Okay, and I had 2 squares, and then we sewed them together, and then we cut them apart. And when we cut them apart, we get something like this. I'm trying to make it square, like that, okay? And then when you put the 2 squares together, you will end up with a flying geese. Okay, it's kind of messy, but you get the point. Look at the bottom. Can you see that? Like here and here, and then there is the point I was telling you about. Oh, yes. I made that out of chocolate. Yes, I did. For you, for homeschoolers. And you could do the same. And when you melt your chocolate down, you could add whatever you have in the kitchen. And you could make like a bark, like a chocolate bark. And then shape it into precise squares. And look. You could make that, yes. So, I'm going to show you again. See that square? Yes. See this square? Yes. And when you put them together, 1 second. This one might be a little bit better. When you put them together, look what you get. My fingers are in the way. Okay? So, I'm excited. Yes. I did something cookie chocolate cookie fun. So don't forget, 1 square, 2 squares, put them together. Look further on the internet. Will tell you how to make half square triangles. And then you will end up with, okay, there's a couple of ways that you could make flying geese. This is the cheating way. This is the easy cheating way. But you will be extremely successful. And then you'll make a flying geese. Yeah. Yes, you will. Like that. I did good, huh? I'm going to fly away after I eat my chocolates. Okay, so now let's get serious. Because now the fun begins. Okay, hold tight. So, once you learn how to make a half square triangle, also known as HST, as your homeschooler teacher or your mom or your daddy or your granny, what is a half square triangle? Xhoxolate was talking about a half square triangle, and she's just telling me that that is the secret to making all the beautiful quilts that, not all, okay, I'm exaggerating, to quite a few. You want to know what I'm doing? I'm touching this. Yes. Yes. And I was touching this. You see those little red things on top? Those are poly seeds dripped in chocolate. Okay, so the half square triangle is a magical, no, excuse me, I want to start over again. The square is a magical shape because from the square, you get 2 triangles, yes, which from there you can make a lot of things. Now, because I was talking about the Flying Geese, which is a popular block, I found this one. It's called the Brown Goose. And you know what? I'm kind of brown, and I'm a silly goose. So this is a good block to do. Now, look at the lower half of the page. Now, there's 4 across here, and it talks about, oh, wait, just 1 second. I'm excited because I think you're going to love this. I think out of everything about quilting, you're going to like the half square triangle the best. You can make this. You can make this one. Oh, I'm sorry if I'm going too fast. It's because I want to eat my chocolates. And that one. And that one. It's more. It's like so many in the whole wide world. It's unbelievable. Look at this one. And this one. Oh, this one here I did before. Yes. This one. This one here, this block, I did a crazy quilt with it. And I added this here. I made 4 of these, and I added them in the corners of my crazy quilt. So I think that you are getting the idea. Oh, look at this one. Okay, so I want you to keep in mind, and I want you to know that XOXO talked to you about the square and how from the square you can get half square triangles, and then the world of quilting is open to you to do so much and have such a good time, regardless if you're a girl or a boy, a mama, a daddy, a grandpapa, a grandmama, whoever. Okay, so now, but you need fabric, correct? To make a beautiful quilt? Yes? Okay, I'm going to show you what I have. And I think you're going to like it. So, as I mentioned before, that my fabric is special, and I call my boxes Ugly Beauties because some fabric is ugly and some fabric is beautiful. But some of the fabric that is beautiful, somebody might say, I don't like it. And then some of the fabric that's ugly, someone will say, oh yes. Oh yes indeed. Oh yes indeed. I love it. So that's the reason why I call my boxes Ugly Beauties. And at the end of the day, even a person that you know that has a really ugly, stinking personality, they still have a little bit of pretty in them. And so that's just the way life is. And your parents have always told you, find the good in someone. If you can't say something good, keep your big mouth shut. Okay, well, same thing with my Ugly Beauties. See? I know. There's one in here that's ugly. And you want me to tell you which one I don't like? Is it this one? You think I don't like this one? Or is it this one? Or is it this one? Or is it this plain one? Or is it this one? Or this one? Okay. In the comments, tell me which one do you think is ugly? Or tell me which one do you think is beautiful? The bottom line is that this is my Ugly Beauty chocolate fabric box that you can use to make a quilt. Now, I made a little mistake. When you are making half square triangles, the secret is that you always want to use a contrasting color, a strong light and a strong dark. And if you noticed, I have this one and I have this one. And when I put them together, see, it should have been a little bit stronger, but when I put it together to make a Flying Geese, it kind of came out okay. This is kind of not the best example, but what do you expect from the chocolate lady? What do you expect from XOXO, who's teaching you how to make quick Flying Geese? Okay, so back to a rule. You have to use a precise square, number one. Number two, when you're using half square triangles, usually you want to use a really true contrasting color, okay? Especially if you're going to do something like this. Notice how you can see a true light and you can see a true dark. Okay, now look here. See how you can see a true light and a true dark? And then how they did something tricky? They threw in a medium. So as you're learning how to quilt and how to come up with your blocks that you love, there's always going to be a light and a dark, and then you're going to need a true medium. Okay, so back to this box. You could use this box to make something special that you would like. If you decide that you like this box and you want it, yes, my Ugly Beauty chocolate fabric box, because I made a mistake and I can make mistakes if I want to. Because I'm the chocolate lady and I'm messy. I will add 2 additional colors of fabric in here that will be a very, very strong. I'll just put in some white or a strong white in here for you. Yes. And then that way, this will be nice for you. Now keep in mind, homeschoolers, I don't ship your fabric in one of my boxes. Okay? Why? Because I try to give you a cut on the price. And my boxes are a little bit expensive, yes. And and that's why. Don't ask any more questions. Okay. Also, I have something for you. When you're making your quilt and you're finishing up your quilt and you have to put it back on your quilt, that's where the 108 by 108 quilt backing comes in. But because you're a homeschooler, you might want to try something different. You can use 108 by 108, or you could use some fabric that you have at home, like maybe a sheet, or you can just use, or you can make your backing with pieces. You could do a crazy quilt where you add a lot of pieces together and make your backing specialized. Yeah. And you could add this in the middle. It feels kind of good. So, homeschoolers, let me tell you exactly what I'm trying to explain to you. Once you make your quilt top, okay, and I'm hoping that you'll do something out of this book. Something like this with half square triangles. One second. Maybe you'll do a star. Maybe you'll do a star, okay? But I'm hoping you'll use this particular, I'm hoping that you'll just use some scraps or a stash that maybe you have, or if you have to get some fabric from me. And I hope you'll experiment with the half square triangle, and you will make a beautiful quilt top. And then on the back, as opposed to just adding one large piece of fabric and having it quilted, that you'll take some of the artists in you and that you'll do something special on the back. Because if you wanted to, you could make a big, gigantic square on the back, and then inside of that, use some half square triangles and add some cozy fabric on that and make one spectacular quilt. Okay, so homeschoolers, I do want to show you a quick video. I think you're going to like it. And hold tight, please. Yes. You really enjoyed that little clip. It just talks about triangles and squares, and then how it goes each time that it is reduced and reduced and reduced, or enlarged and enlarged, and how it changes. And I think the word is infinity. I hope you enjoyed that, because I did, and I was just thinking I wanted to show that to you. And that that's pretty much it for today. And I hope you had a good time with XOXO. Be sure to tell your parents that I really would like for them to consider getting one of my Ugly Beauty chocolate fabric boxes for you, so that you can try out the half square triangle, or if you want to make the log cabin starting with a square. One second. The log cabin didn't get too much attention today, but that happens because it's so famous. Okay? If you want to make a log cabin, or if you want to make some flying geese, or if you want to make something like this. Hi. Don't forget, I'm XOXO, and when you come to visit me, it's pure fun. It's not like regular. It's like regular fun. And then maybe you might want to make something like this. Okay? So, let me show you the box before I say goodbye. I kind of like this box. And like I said, I will add a couple of pieces of solid white. But if you don't want white, if you want another color, let me know, and I'll add a couple of pieces of those so that you'll have your really true contrasting colors, which I made a mistake, so forgive me. And just know that I am the chocolate lady, dripping with thoughts, making crazy quilts from scraps. or whatever I got, and I can teach you how to make your own chocolate candy bar. But today, I didn't make a chocolate candy bar. I kind of made a flying geese. I think the quilt, there's these people, homeschoolers, come close. Come close. I'm going to tell you a secret. There's these people called the quilt police. Yeah. And they're going to say, XO, we got the handcuffs for you because you are teaching homeschoolers and different way of making the traditional flying geese. Well, homeschoolers, tonight, type in beginner's guide to making the flying geese, and they will tell you a little bit different. And I'm going to tell the quilt police that I was just trying to introduce you to the square. Yes. That will make a triangle. And all the things that you can do with the square and with the triangle. And one of the things that's kind of fun is the flying geese, when you want to do it the super duper easy homeschooler way. And then if you want to tackle the more technical way, go right ahead. Type in beginner's guide to making the flying geese, and the quilt police will be very pleased with you. But guess what? The chocolate lady, me, I don't make my flying geese like that. Nope. I'm XOXO. I should have had milk. Now, oh, wait a minute. I got one more thing. Oh, I'm not going to eat any more candy. That's not the other thing I have. I have this. Can you see it? Can you see it? Yes. This is my giveaway. I always like to give something away. I just do. Look close. I hope you like it. You can make that. And I have the directions here. So, if you would like this, let me know, and I will send it to you. And with that, I'm going to close the show and remind you, Mondays, 108 homeschoolers, yes, yes, yes. Wednesdays, women that quilt, 108 in the afternoon. And Fridays, men that quilt. And a very special day, Sundays, I talk about the history of quilting, burial quilts and memorial quilts at 108. And each day that I come on, I always have a 5 to 10 minute chocolate treat. Today's chocolate treat was more of instructional. It was just one yummy. It wasn't like yummy, yummy, yummy to my tummy. It was just yummy because it was just chocolate. I didn't add like a special filling, a special cream filling or nuts or something exotic to the chocolate. I just wanted to demonstrate that if you make a simple square and then cut it in half, you'll have a triangle. Eventually, you can make something beautiful to look at for 1 minute and to devour the next minute. XOXO! I love you all and thank you for your support. And I will see you on Wednesday. Yes. And leave me a message. Bye.